a sense of community when you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me. Hello, everyone. Well, my guest today is an artist. He's also a co-owner, I love this name, by the way, Octopus Spirit Enterprises. He's a council member, and forgive me if I mispronounce the name. I think it's Kwantien First Nation?
Kwantien, yeah.
Okay. Say that again, please.
Kwantien, yes. Kwantien, yes.
Kwantien. Okay, yeah. And his name is Brandon Gabriel. Thank you so much, Brandon, for taking the time.
The pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, for sure. I'm just so excited because I know you're busy. We've tried to fix it before, but you have such a busy life, right?
Yes, it is.
So where are you currently?
Well, presently I am working as an Indigenous artist in residence at Kwantlen Polytechnic University, and I'm right in the middle of the residency right now, and I'm working on a giant 25-foot by 10.5-foot mural, which is going to be installed in their campus library. And I'm doing the interview from the main gallery space.
Okay.
This is called the Spruce Gallery. And there was just like a major hip hop exhibition here last night with hip hop artists from all over Metro Vancouver. And the stage is still behind me, and then interspersed in this giant gallery space are student artworks.
Okay.
And there's nobody here today, so kind of a nice day to have the space. So I just thought this would be a nice backdrop for our talk. Yeah
for sure. No, you're a painter, correct?
Painting is one of my activities, so I am a painter. I'm also a muralist, graphic artist, and I'm a wood carver.
Oh, right. Okay. I wasn't sure, so I just want to get that all out there. So
yes.
Do you have a description for let's just say with your paintings, for instance, do you have a particular style that you consider, or you just do whatever?
Yeah, so like my work varies. So I do traditional Coast Salish design, which I integrate onto my wood sculptures. So I carve large scale like house poles.
Okay.
In addition to that, I'm also I'm a graduate of Kwantlen Polytechnic University and a graduate of Emily Carr University of Art and Design, where I studied painting and drawing and graphic arts. And so I do a lot of contemporary Western style art as well. And a lot of it is just like really a fusion of these art styles. And my work tends to be very colorful as well. I'm a very big fan of colorful art, and so a lot of my work uses the full spectrum of color. And my content varies from traditional Coast Salish narratives that are ancient stories that are passed on from generation to generation in my community, or I speak to contemporary issues related to the environment, or political commentary, what's taking place in the world around us from a global perspective. And so really just very dynamic art practice that I have, which really which makes me a very busy person because of the wide array of content that I'm able to produce as an artist. I'm also in high demand too. So there's a lot of work that I do all over Metro Vancouver, across British Columbia, and my work has also been shown across the United States and the United Kingdom as well.
I think that's wonderful. I really do.
Thank you.
Because not every artist gets their work. There might be beautiful work, but sometimes it's difficult to get your work out there, right?
It is. It's it's been a long journey. I've been a professional artist since I was 15. I'm now 44, and for the brunt of my time and my experience as a aspiring artist, there was just a lot of effort where it was just a struggle just to get my work shown and appreciated by a wider audience. And it's taken a long time for me to build my audience over time. And thankfully, there are there's a wide array of people who appreciate my work, and so I'm lucky. I'm just one of those. I think I'm just one of those lucky artists that gets to have my work seen widely.
Also, talent takes a
Yeah. Yes.
plays a big part in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just sort of wondering, as like I'm just sort of a dabbler, and one of the things my sister and I, we started like both in our 70s to decide we're going to be doing some paintings.
Yes.
But having that confidence to put your work out there, that's a tough for some of us. Were you always okay with showing your work?
Well, that's actually a very interesting question because I was a very shy child. I remember being very withdrawn and very. I remember having like high social anxiety all through childhood, well into adolescence, and I remember high school was particularly hard for me. Um, I remember I would walk into a classroom and my face would go completely red. I'd start sweating profusely. Just the fear of me being in a public space with strangers was terrifying to me. And so I remember I just remember growing up, like my world was very small, because my social anxieties were very high. And for me, art was a way to a way for me to break free from that anxiety. Like I developed a skill for making art very early in my life, and it allowed it was it got people took notice at a very young age.
Nice.
Which really enabled me to use it as a stepping stone to quell my social anxiety. And so it took years. I remember it took years for me to have the courage to even even to walk into a room full of strangers to sell my art, like to put it on display and talk about it. Like it was a very it was a very long journey from that point to where I am now.
Right.
And I would say as an adult, and somebody who's got years and years of experience in my field now, um, that it's just different now. I feel so much more confident about myself as a human. My ability to express myself has grown, leaps and bounds, and I think that was kind of part of the battle for me. That was like my challenge, was to come out of my shell. Really, that was like, yeah.
It took
Thanks
that.
for asking that, because not many people ask me that question, and I think it's a big part of my story. So
Yeah,
thank you.
for sure.
Yeah,
You're welcome. Yeah. Another thing
yeah,
I think about is putting a dollar amount
yes,
in your work. Like that's good. Another thing that must be really difficult.
yes, it is. Yes, I, I think um, I think that that's something that I also had to learn. There was a lot of painful experiences that came with that, because early in my career, I settled for really like small payments for my work, because I was just very humble about
Hmm.
very humble about it. Like if I made enough money to go buy dinner, I was happy.
Right.
Very early on, like if I had enough to go buy more art supplies, I was happy. But over time, my needs changed. I met my future wife. Now we have two children. Now we have our dreams and goals as a family, and so my needs changed.
Yeah.
So did my expectation for how I was going to be rewarded for my hard work. And over time, I've developed like strategies around that and policies around it, which was very hard to do, not easy,
Mm.
because you're the one telling yourself that you have to be worth something. And
Yeah.
that's a hard thing for most people to do just on a regular basis, let alone having to do that for your art. And so yeah, it's that was also a big journey too. I'm grateful that I've also come through that phase of my life, and now I'm able to make a living and provide for my family, and even be so successful at what I do that I'm able to hire other talented artists to come and help and
Oh, nice.
complete the works, and they get to make a living working with us too. So,
Yeah.
there's I never thought that was going to happen, and it happened. And so, there's a lot of gifts that came with my life as an artist that I'm very grateful for.
And one of the things I've observed when any First Nations people that I know tend to be very humble.
Yes.
I've noticed
Yeah.
that, and I appreciate that about you and First Nations people in general.
Thank
Uh,
you.
like, well, I interviewed a chief, and I didn't even know he was a chief. I mentioned that to him after. I said, "Are you a chief?" And he said, "Yes." I said, "But I didn't know that." And he said, "Well, I don't mention it, but I'm thinking, well,
Yeah.
that's your title. You earned that. Like, you're an
Yeah.
artist, and you've earned that title, right?"
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's, like I can be at a public event, like a big gallery opening, and I'm just there, like
Yeah.
just taking it in, and I'm, just wanting to appreciate the work, and then some, like, strangers will come up to me, and I'll be with a friend or a cohort who introduces me to them, and they know who I am. They know my work, and I'm always surprised by that. Like, I just
Yeah, yeah,
I don't expect that. Like, there's something, like, some things in my life that I just don't expect, and one of them is having that sort of recognition for my
recognition.
work, and or who I am or what I do. And so when it happens, I'm always just really kind of taken aback by it. I'm really surprised. When they'll, like, "This is Brandon. He's a famous artist," and I'll be like, "Oh, okay, thank you." And I don't. I mean, I don't walk into rooms with that expectation. I just, like, for me, just I'm like, if I'm in a gallery, like in a space that I'm in right now, where it's full of, like, student work, for instance, I'm here as a fan of art. I'm a fan of art makers, and if I see something I like, I'm always just like, oh, I get really excited about it, and so, that part of me has not changed, and so I feel just that's another blessing. That's just another gift of this life that I've cultivated, and so I yeah, that's just how I'm gonna live my life. I'm just gonna be that way, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Believe it or not, I have social anxiety.
Mm,
So when I'm out in public and people say, "Oh, are you Nancy Guitar?" It's like,
yeah,
well,
yeah,
I don't know where to look.
yeah. You're like,
Right?
that's like, who, me? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I can do this, no problem. But socially, it's a different situation. So I totally understand how you feel, about
Yeah.
that. It's really difficult when you're who you are as an artist is what is on your pit on your whether it's on your wood carvings or on a
Yeah.
mural. That's kind of like who you are, right?
Yeah.
As well as
Yeah.
of course being a husband and a father.
Yes.
Are your children going to be? I don't know what ages they are, but are they
Yeah.
artistic?
So my daughter Jamie is turning 7, and my son Isidore is turning 3.
Okay.
And they're wonderful ages. Like, my daughter has been to galleries and job sites with me where I work on these monumental art pieces, and she loves art. She loves painting, she loves drawing, and but she'll see a mural in Vancouver, or she'll see a painting on a side of a building, or she'll see a giant carving in a museum, and she thinks I did it. She thinks they're all mine. Like, she thinks that oh, Daddy, look, there's your art, and I'll be like, oh, yeah, and I don't have the heart to tell her that
She'll
not
learn.
all artwork is Daddy's, but
Yeah.
I am grateful that she has that sense of wonder, and that she looks at me that way, and
Nice.
So I'm not going to take that magic away from her, and I'm going to let her carry that with her for as long as she lives, as long as she can. And because I want her to love art more than anything. I just want her to love art. I want her to make sure that it's part of her life, and the way it was for me, because for me it was the answer to so many of like issues like social anxiety. And so if I can keep that keep that in her heart for as long as I can, so that she takes it with her on her journey and art becomes important to her, that means everything to me.
Very nice.
And for my son, he's not quite there yet. Like he's
Very young.
he loves markers, and he loves crayons, and he loves drawing on everything, and I'll just leave it at that too.
No, one thing we haven't talked about yet is the Octopus Spirit Enterprises.
Yes.
What is that about?
Well, so I've been a professional artist since I was 15. Roughly about 2018, I was starting to get requests to make larger scale art pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And they were for big institutions and big organizations, and the requirements for engaging in public art projects of that scale required you to have a certain like business designation and insurance coverage and those kind of things. And so my wife, Melinda Biga, and myself started our company, Octopus Spirit Enterprises. And our goal was to essentially just so that we could have a proper business attached to our art practice. But in the course of the last 5 years, our company has grown substantially. Now we have employees, we have like full-scale project roster that we do throughout the year. So we work with big corporations, we do public institutions. We work all over Metro Vancouver now, and so we turned our art studio into an art firm, and it's been very successful, and so we're grateful for that.
I'm happy to hear that. I think that's wonderful. I think I've covered everything. Okay. Is there something that I haven't asked that you would like to talk about?
No, I think we covered everything. I mean, like, I think it's just great to talk to you in person, and I've been a fan of you. I do watch your show, and I'm a fan of it, and so it's an honor to be here, and I'm grateful to be asked, and thank you for your time. It's been
honor's mine.
Well spent.
The honor's mine, for sure. Really, for sure. I appreciate that. So I'm just going to say goodbye to the audience and just stay there for a second. So all right. Thank you for watching the show, everybody. So you've been listening to Brandon Gabriel, artist, First Nations, and business owner, and really doing well as an artist, which is so wonderful, I think. Support local artists, everybody. So that's just my comment. Thank you, everybody, for watching the show. I hope you continue to do so, and take care, and peace out.
A sense of community, Chilliwack's a place to be. A sense of community when you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me. It's multicultural, you're sure to see it all. Chilliwack's a place to be, you'll see. Come party in the park, go dancing after dark. Chilliwack's a place to be, you'll see.